Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about things to think about before launching your technology startup or your small business that is in any way tech enabled. So the purpose of this video is to go through the things you need to think about before you launch your business to make sure that you're secure from the beginning. The target audience for this video is, I've got my notes over here, are people who are about to launch a business that includes important data. So whether that's your intellectual property or personally identifiable information, so things that are governed by things like GDPR, or if you're technology based. So the context of this is that as a security consultant, I've worked for countless startups or mid-size businesses who have encountered technology challenges. And as time has evolved, your technology stack is probably one of the greatest assets of your business. And security wise, it's normally the vector that a lot of attackers use to target your business. So I'm going to start off by talking or setting the scene. So you've got a really good idea, you've got the funding, and you're in a position whereby you want to start building, you want to start hiring, or if you're really lucky, you're pre-launch, but you have a bunch of customers that you already need to service. Your technology stack is the enabling factor for all of this. So starting off with technology, I'm going to structure it in terms of three areas: technology, processes, and people. And that's the order that I think is best when starting off like building anything. So, technology, before you start building or implementing, you need to determine where you see yourself, I'd say, in about 5 years. At the beginning, that sounds really ridiculous, as in you don't have any revenue, you don't have any customers. However, the technology that you put in place at the beginning is fundamental. So, whatever technology you pick, that's going to determine how easy it is to find staff to service and maintain your application or your technology stack. Is going to determine how many people are able to support your product. So, whether that's at a vendor level, and also how compatible your technology will be with other tools. So, for example, if you pick a tool that is going to be discontinued in, let's say, 2 to 3 years, or a tool that is very, very niche and is not compatible with any of the major vendors, for example, that's going to be really difficult to, one, hire people, and two, to maintain. And I always say that the best time to plan or design or build security is at the beginning. So if you've already implemented something, it's not the end of the world, but starting off on a clean slate and implementing technology or security controls, it's always going to be easiest at the beginning. Because think about it as entering a kitchen and you want to make dinner. If the kitchen is clean, you're going to have the best time. The kitchen sink is empty, the bin is empty, the place is clean, you can see, you know what's going on, compared to if five different cooks have come in and they've cooked in their own way, some ingredients have run low. A bit of an abstract analogy, but the point is the best time is right at the beginning before anyone has done anything. Because if you consider the scale that you'd like to achieve in year five, so let's say in year one you see yourself having 100 users compared to year five where you're looking at 100,000 users. If you can build at the beginning, considering that you're going to need to scale to 100,000 users, the technology and the decisions you'll make will be completely different. The next benefit of considering the technology you want to use before you've actually started growing is the benefit of not having noise. So before you've launched your business, I imagine things are hectic. However, you still have the added, I guess, benefit of not having customers that you actively need to service, stakeholders that you need to keep in line, invoices to pay. Taking the time beforehand to sit and understand where you want to head in the next 5 years will put you ahead of the competition and, most importantly, ahead of any cyber attacks. So next we're going to talk about processes. Build a security roadmap. So on day zero, what security do you need to have in place? By month one, what security do you have in place? Plan it out in increments. So I would say go as far as, let's say, 5 years, or you can alternatively use the number of users. As for some businesses, I don't know, within a year, you might have a huge amount of users compared to another business that might grow a bit slower. But you want to always have in mind at each milestone, so let's say 0 users, 100 users, 100,000 users, you want to have a different set of security maturity in mind for each levels each levels. And then also consider data. So data residency is a massive one. I'm based in the UK. We have data residency laws over here. So look at your jurisdiction and decide that, you know, when you have UK users, this is the level of security you need to have. By the time you expand to other regions, so let's say Africa, Europe, have in mind how you're going to address security at all these different levels as well, so that when you start having users that are in different places than one you've encountered, you've already planned for this and you just need to start implementing. Next, people. So if you've done the first step, technology, you've decided what technology you want to use, and you've done the processes, you'll have an understanding as to who you need to have within your business. So rather than already being, you know, you're already jogging and you need to like find people to help you run your business in terms of security, know ahead of time the technology stack you're going to have in place and who you're going to need at all these different milestones. So I've seen a lot of businesses start off as using a virtual CISO or a CISO as a service, so that they have the security expertise that they can speak to. But then once they scale to a certain level, then they decide to have an in-house CISO. But I would say whether you have someone in-house or not, have the expertise at easy reach, so that when things do happen, because it's not if, it's when things do happen, you'll have perfect expertise. You won't be panicking, essentially. It's like having a fire extinguisher within the kitchen rather than having to run to the street and panic and find someone to help you. Yeah, so most importantly, think of the type of skill set you need. And if you've done the first step correctly, so determining technology that is suitable for your future needs, then you'll find it easy to find people, or you can form relationships with consultancy firms who will be able to supply you with the capacity as and when you need it. And then you'll also be able to take your time to implement, so that you can test and learn as you go along, as opposed to doing massive deployments that are quite destabilizing for internal staff and also carry a lot more risk in terms of change management. And then when you're interviewing people, or when you're deciding on people to bring on board, if you do this slowly, you have the luxury of time. So rather than finding anyone available in the market that has the skill set, you can check that the skill set aligns, you can check that the values align. At the end of the day, interviews are a two-way process, so you can make sure that the individual or business is suitable for your company, and you can make sure that the company is suitable for the individual. There's not going to be any panic. You're going to feel in control. So to bring all three factors together, if you're rapidly scaling, have someone on standby, have a plan already mapped out, whether by users or the number of users, let's say, or the time, so that if there's any changes in regulation, whether it's industry specific or cyber specific, you have someone that's guiding you and you can take the journey together, rather than knee-jerk reactions that leave people panicked. And I always say that if you're raising funding, showing that you've addressed security from the beginning is a really good indicator to investors, because it shows that you're not saying that you're never going to suffer from a cyber event, but you're saying that you've done your due diligence the same way they've checked your financials, they've checked your plans, you've taken some steps to make sure that if anything does happen, you're in a position to recover quickly. And as your application grows, you're not just acquiring new buildings and adding more people. You've shown how your technology will grow alongside the scale of your business. So that's all three factors addressed. My call to action is for you to have a think about your security roadmap before you decide to open your doors for business, as your technology stack is what will serve your customer base. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please comment below or send me an email. I'm always happy to jump on a virtual call to have a coffee. I say virtual coffee. But yeah,